Eh, because we had lunch with our friend Alfred and Marie very recently. I don't know what it is about Alfred, but he does generate even as much as me. He does generate the worst in people sometimes, in some people, and when people see Alfred and Marie and the way that they live, um, they don't seem to be able to process it. So it brings up that whole subject of how much should uh, an expat or a foreigner marrying into a Filipino family, how much should he be expected to contribute to the survival of the family of his bride? Well, I used to feel this way when I first came over, so I can't claim that I never felt that way because at one time I did. And it came to a head when we came to live in Bohol. We came to live in Bohol, and then of course I had the family right there, and I had to deal with the emotions that a lot of people struggle with right now. And let me tell you the milestone things that happened which caused me to change the way that I feel. Now, first of all, Beth and I have a mission to help the less fortunate. And so we are out there raising money and doing our projects with that money. So, of course, I have to repeat again that we're not the heroes. The heroes in our story are the people that support us and empower us to do what we do. But in doing what we do, we come up against the fact that sometimes family can think, why would you do this for someone you don't know when you could be doing it for your family? So that was a pressure that was put on us that we had to deal with. Of course, Beth gets the most of the pressure from that kind of thing is on Beth, because people don't actually talk to me about it because I don't speak the language, and therefore they'd be looking at Beth to translate. So they don't confront the foreigner himself, is my experience. Now, one of the things that when I came over, um, I realized from my own life that there were times that I could have been a better son. And even though this may sound a little bit strange, because for one thing, I'm older than my mother-in-law, so how can I call her Nanai? Well, Nanai is a foreign word to me, so it's not like calling her mother for me. So it's easy for me to call her Nanai. Now, Nanai doesn't have any support of her own, and yet I see that people write they write quite unpleasant comments is what I found. Now, normally I don't even stand those unpleasant comments. I just block them. I just delete them. I get rid of them because I don't think that it makes anybody feel very good reading what in the end is just a nasty comment. But some of the comments that I've seen are calling Filipino families of foreigners, calling them parasites and saying that they are shameful and that they are shameless and that they're shaming the rest of the Philippine nation. I really don't find that this is the way. Now, let me try to tell you that key moment that I changed. As I said, I'm not I'm not one who can be proud of being a great son because at 15 years old I left home and I never went back really, and because of that I wasn't very close to my parents, and the good son, the job of the good son fell to my brother who was a good son, and my sister who also helped with the family as well. So I have one brother and one sister. Now, because I felt that I had not been a good son, and because I'm at that time of my life that I'm really trying in many ways to make amends for those years that I could have been a much better person. So I'm actually trying to improve. Now, change is very hard won, even when you want it and even when you work for it. So it's not an easy job. But as some kind of guidance as to what any foreigner who is looking at this right now, while he's not a foreigner, is living in his own land. When you come over here, you will find that there are pressures to help, and it's difficult to say no. I find it difficult to say no. I've actually advised people, well, what you should do if you find it hard to say no is every morning as a start to the day, you can go into the bathroom, look in the mirror, and who are you going to see but yourself? And you practice saying no, 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 no. You can do that. I did that. It's not the great solution. It's not a resolution to the problem. So I felt with my present mother, Nanai, that this was my chance to be a better son. And that's the way that I go about my relationship with my mother-in-law. Now, someone said quite emphatically, I can understand that you are paying for her medication, but paying for her groceries as well is just not, it's not required. I'm trying to work that through and play that through. Can you imagine how that would play? Oh, Nanai, I want to have a quick word with you if you don't mind. Look, I'm totally okay with paying for the medication, okay, just to keep you alive. But the groceries, nah, not doing that. You haven't got any other means of support? You're depending on me for the money? Nah, really, I don't give a shit. You know, I've been advised by someone who obviously knows that I shouldn't be required to pay for you to eat. Why should I pay for your food? I can't imagine a conversation going like that, can you? But that's where this person that says you shouldn't be expected to pay for the groceries. We're a family. I had the same feeling when I saw my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law, Rado, is, I've learned, an incredibly helpful man. I've never actually had a conversation with him because he's extremely laconic, I think is the word. A man of few words. I sometimes joke, yes, I know, not very funny, but he doesn't say very much. I hear him talking to Nanai, hear him talking a few words to Beth, but he really doesn't talk very much. But he's always there. If we need help, and at 83 years old, I'm not out there lifting huge things, and Rado will always help. So he helps. At the moment, he's demolishing our red house. He helps. Now, at first, when I was suffering under the load and thinking, I can't pay for everybody's groceries, this is another mouth to feed, I'm talking to Beth, and she is very, very good about allowing this to be spoken, for the feeling to be expressed. Yes, I understand. Yes, yes, well, yes, yes. After a while, I began thinking about my brother, my own brother. And I lost my own brother when he was just in his 50s. He was a young man in his 50s. He'd always been a drinker, always been a smoker, and one day he just keeled over, and as they always say, he was dead before he hit the ground. He had left strict instructions with his wife in talking that he was not to be hooked up with wires and tubes, and they were just to let him go, and that's what they did. They revived him at first, and then when his wife got to the hospital, all of that was stopped, and he died peacefully with dignity. Now, so I miss my brother. I loved my brother. and I miss him. And here I've got a brother in Rado. Now, is it the same? No, it's not the same. My brother and I used to have great fun conversations. My brother was a fun storyteller. He's told great stories. And sometimes, like John Steinbeck the writer used to say, you carried those stories home, but it was like walking with a bucket full of water in a bucket that had a hole in it. When you got home, the story didn't have its magic anymore. Well, I lost my brother, and now I have another brother, and I realized if my brother showed up and was another mouth to feed, I would have no hesitation. I would feed him, and if he showed up the next day, I would feed him again, and the next day, and the next day, and there would be no end. And I would not consider myself as being extraordinarily generous. So that's how I see my brother Rado. He's my brother, and he is welcome to come and eat anytime, as anybody is in our house. So I have my brother Rado. This is in our small compound of 4 or 5 houses. We have Nanai. We have Tata. Tata is my other brother, and he has 2 boys and a girl. Are they welcome to come and feed? Yes, they are. Will we help them if they need help? Yes, we will. Is it some kind of burden? No, it's not. Because they are my family. Now, as soon as you get over this idea that these are people, they are these people who are expecting me to pay everything, who think I'm a rich man, who think this, who think that. As soon as you get over that and realize that these people are your family, and then work with them and see that they will work with you. Once, I always like to tell the story of Rado because I call him the man of iron or the man of steel, because he is he's a farmer. He's worked hard, physically hard all his life. Well, we bought a washing machine. And when we got to the point where there's a very steep hill just prior to the house, it was sitting on the carabao, and we couldn't get it up the hill. Now, I had been called saying that the washing machine is here and we need to do something about it. And well, we'd called Rado. And by the time I got there thinking, well, between us, we should be able to struggle that damn washing machine up the hill, for God's sake. When I got there, he had stripped off the cardboard box off the washing machine. And he hoisted the washing machine onto his shoulder. And he walked up that steep hill with the washing machine on his shoulder. And he didn't do a big thing about it, and he plunked it down when he got to the place where it should be, and that was the end of it. No big heroics. No, this is the kind of thing that he did. When I first started to build the house, Rado was the one that we called when the tricycle driver had delivered our bunch of materials, our next pack of materials for doing the house, which I was building alone out of metal stud because it's light and easy for me to use. He would be called and we would have our materials delivered to the end of the road, and he would arrive leisurely on the back of his carabao dragging his bamboo sled, and he would then, without any fuss, load all of the materials that we had onto the carabao's sled, and then he would drag all of the materials up the hill and drop them off where I needed them. Now, about the idea that you're going to have money leached off you. Every time somebody does something, we pay him. None of us are rich. Actually, we're not rich. We're struggling to realize our dreams. So We're not rich, and everybody understands that. If we don't have money, then we cannot give it. And everybody understands that. But we have Lena. Lena is Beth's sister. And do we help her? Yes, we do. Do we take complete control of her life? No, we don't. She does other things. If she helps, if she goes to the store for Beth when Beth doesn't have the time because we're involved in some charity project, we pay her, and we pay her well so that she can live as well. And this is the way. We pay her, we pay Rado, we pay anybody that helps us, we pay. And we work together as a family. Now, boys, we have Balalut. Balalut is the son of Rado. Balalut now works on the building site that we have going for our building project, and he has become a good helper. And he is there, he drives his motorcycle, and we help him with the motorcycle, and we ask him to do something. So if Beth is down at the site and she wants a ride home, she calls Balalut, or she speaks to Balalut if he's on the building site, and he brings her home. If I am struggling up that hill and I'm walking, somebody will come down and get me, and they get paid. So it's not a case of no one will help us. We work together as a family. Now, if you are coming over here and you have been watching and looking at various videos of how people are saying, I'm not giving my money, it's my pension, I worked hard all my life for that pension. And yes, you did, sir, you did. And now you're coming out here to a different kind of life. And what I suggest is that you learn to see the people that are closest to you as your family. And if you can do this in the same way that you would with your own family, if that is the way that your own family work, then you will have a happier life. It's said by many that it's better, in fact, it wasn't it in the Bible, that it is better to give than to receive. This is what we found. The more that we give, the more that we try to help others, the more help, the more assistance, the more unlimited, unconditional love that we give to others, we are rewarded abundantly in both fulfillment and happiness and success. Because that's the way that our lives go. We don't go in there to help someone thinking, what can we get out? What's the benefit to us? You know, there is let me see. It is a definition of stupidity. This definition of stupidity is to do something to harm another for no benefit to yourself. It doesn't get any more stupid than that. But if you reverse that onto the positive, to do things for others, to help them to be positive, to help to change their life, to make them happier, to make them more successful, to be a better friend to them, the more that you do that, the more benefit that comes to you, just in terms of fulfillment. All my life I've been pretty well all my life I've been a musician. Musician is in a way it's an ego-based profession, because it deals with the idea of being admired. You play a wonderful solo, people applaud, you are admired. If you sing a song wonderfully, you are admired. You are acknowledged for being almost like above your audience. This is the kind of payback that a musician, a singer, an actor, a comedian, anybody who performs on the spot to a certain standard can expect this kind of return. But when you are doing things which you hope that will change people's lives, then the return is in seeing the change that you brought to that person's life. We have 74 students who we absolutely love. At one time, Beth and I wanted a child of our own. It hasn't happened. We haven't been blessed with a child of our own. And yet now we have 74 youngsters who we consider are like our children. And we absolutely love them. And we love them unconditionally. And they don't give us something for the help that we give to them, even though they do pay it forward, and they come and they help us when we're trying to help others who are less fortunate than ourselves. So there is payback, but it's not to us directly. But in all this time that I was a musician, compared to the fairly short time, 6 or 7, 8 years that I've been doing what we're doing now, I never felt the fulfillment that I feel now. So can I pay the groceries for my mother? Damn right I can. Can I enjoy doing that? Yes, I can. Can I help my brothers here? Can I help my sisters? Yes, I can, and will, and do. And I suggest for those who come over and are in a dilemma as to how much they should help, one of the best pieces of advice that I ever gave anybody when they come to the Philippines was, when you come here, if you can, for 1 month, keep your mouth shut. Don't offer that wealth of information and knowledge and experience that you have from the first world. Don't do it. Keep your eyes open and your ears open and take it all in. Learn how it's all done here before you come out and start choosing how you're going to educate everybody about how clever you are. There's a different way of life here, same planet, different world. Now, for those of you who are so very, very eager to tell me that if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, and if you teach him to fish, you feed him for his life. My experience, although generalities in my own, as I've stated myself, generalities don't work. You can't go out and say, this person is all this and that person is all that. You can't do that, because there are always exceptions, right? But this is what I've found, that the people who do that are putting it as a reason for why they're not going to help anybody. And I don't find it easy to just not help. It's proved to be our mission. My wife and I, Beth, we help others, and if we can't help, then we're not able to. We do what we can with what we have, and that's what we do, and we help. And if that means giving some money, then that's what we do. And if it means building a house for someone, that's what we do. And if it means helping them to go to hospital and have some money while they are there being a support for their loved one who may be in hospital having treatment, that's what we do. And there are people, angels in our mind, who help us to do that. And they help us and empower us to help others. And it's been proven, one last point, it has been proven that in help, it's not just the helper to the helped. So it's much more than that. There's the feeling that the person who helps gets when he helps the person being helped. And there's a feeling that that person gets by being helped. And that's just two people. But there's something else. There's someone who is watching the good deed done. And by talking to people who have this experience of watching a great deed being done, the onlooker who has nothing to do with the deed, only to be a spectator, can have a feeling that is almost like equal in magnitude to the good feeling that the person who is doing the deed feels. If you want to see how that works, goes on YouTube, and you will see that there are people going around, people who have a great deal of money and want to share it and are giving large sums of money, 1,000, 5,000, sometimes 10,000 not pesos, $10,000 to someone that they deem needs the help. They're giving them a fish. And then, for the sake of this little thing that you're going to do, watch the effect of the person who has been helped, who thought that there was no hope, who has been passed time and time again by someone who could have helped him but didn't. And then someone comes along and they give a little note and it said, I know you're having a rough time, but I want you to know that this money is yours and that people care. And I found for myself that with our students, if I'm thinking about one of the students, it usually means that that particular student could do with just a little hand on the shoulder. And so I just say, good night. How are you? You're in my thoughts. And I know that that means that they go to sleep knowing that someone has thought about them for no agenda, for no return, only just to say we care. And that's a very important thing. It's got nothing to do with teaching a man to fish. You'll have to take that one to your grave, I think. Thanks for being with me. I hope it helps.